So let's start, though, with our first segment, which we are going to talk about something that Pascal, I think, has found this week, and it's the You Ask, We Answer.
Yeah, so in the You Ask, We Answer segment, we look at a question that maybe you and I have heard during a training session, maybe a speaking gig, perhaps we saw it online and so on. And this one actually was from a workshop I ran for County Durham last week, and people were looking at AI apps to help them craft the content. But actually, more or less, the group in tandem kind of said to me, well, I've heard that you can get penalized by Google if you use AI to create that content for my website. Is it true? And if so, what could I do to avoid any penalties and drop in traffic? What say you, Jonny Ross?
Very good question. I think it's fair to say that fundamentally, Google is not penalizing AI content. That's the fundamental thing is that it's not penalizing content just because it's AI. What it is penalizing, or where you may affect your ranks, is if it's low quality, or perhaps if it's spammy or just sort of repeated content. So I think, we've said this many times, AI is a digital assistant. It's there to help, it's there to brainstorm, it's there to structure, it's there to come up with ideas, it's there to get rid of writer's block, it's there to get you started. It's how you use it, though, and it's how you humanize the content, how you edit the content, how you focus on adding value to the content, avoiding the sort of the fluff, and making sure that you edit the content properly. I guess the key thing that I would suggest, if people are concerned, and this is ultimately how to rank high in Google anyway, is to concentrate on EEAT. Google talk about it a lot. EEAT: experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And if you can concentrate your content on those four things and make sure that you're bringing experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness by the type of content that you're bringing, whether that be the sort of the questions that you're introducing into it, the added value that you're introducing, the way that you're making sure that you're talking to the reader and adding value the entire time, then your content is not going to get penalized. That is what I think, Pascal.
Yeah, and listen, I've got some sympathy with the thought, because historically, and I reviewed it actually about a year ago, Google did make a statement that they would, essentially not so much penalize, but not only rank as, successfully AI produced content, and then they changed their mind, because this, well, actually, let's clarify this. What we mean is content that is unhelpful and irrelevant as a result of using AI. So I think, historically there was some confusion there. But if we go back to the reason why you might see a drop in traffic, or the reason why there'd be penalties, so the twofold, in terms of the website construct and the engine behind, the scenes, perhaps a bit old, a bit dated, perhaps just some dirty code, as my developer friends like to call it. So it's getting in the way of Google, Bing, Yahoo, and the others scanning your content. But also, see, the audience could be the one to penalize you. The infamous bounce rate. So someone goes into your website, perhaps intrigued by a social media post, or a reference that you made during a networking event, and then they literally within milliseconds, because that's a skill we've all been able to develop over the years, they kind of go, nah, that's not for me, and they're out of that page as fast as you can say it. So there are real penalties, which are more to do with the behavior of your site technically and the behavior of your audience. Now, in terms of how you could avoid simply that happening, you're absolutely right. I would certainly go back to some of the advice we gave in previous episodes of use AI for the outline, use AI for the research of what's relevant, use AI for what people are looking for across the customer journey. So all this idea of having be a better informed content creator, it means gets to the point where then you can get into the creation. I would certainly go as far as say, well, if you're going to use AI, because actually time is against you, make sure that then you train AI to understand your tone of voice and your style, and it's getting easier by the passing week. I mean, you and I keep track the best we can with the evolution of AI, and it's getting a lot better at that bit. What is the source of information, not just the entire web, but maybe the last 10 articles written by Jonny, and that becomes really what you work on. So I would agree with you. It's not that, oh my goodness, I dared use ChatGPT or Gemini, and Google will know and therefore will be penalized. Just more that your audience is going to disconnect, and that behavior is where the penalty is going to come from.
Yeah, and just one of the points that you were mentioning there about training AI and how you use it. I mean, yeah, that's the secret to this. It's about giving it feedback. It's about creating your own GPT or your own conversation in Gemini, and making sure that that you're following what you believe is the correct structure. So making sure that you're humanizing it in every which way possible, and adding that value. But yeah, training it in terms of how you think to ensure that it's adding your knowledge into the equation. So yeah, I guess you've not had to play with DeepSeek yet, the new China AI bot that sort of hit the US overnight and taken billions of pounds off the stock market. I take you've not had to play yet.
No, I mean, my playlist is as long as my Netflix watch list of different things I need to use with AI. I need to literally clone myself, but no, it's on the to-do list. So I do my R&D when it comes to AI on a Friday. I've tried to be a bit more disciplined because I was doing it every day, every evening, watching videos in bed, which is very, very naughty. So I'm trying not to sit and slow down a bit. And so Friday will be my play with DeepSeek.
What I'm fascinated with is how they're training deep. The talk is that it's being trained by using the likes of Gemini and using the likes of ChatGPT, and actually that just reiterates what we've said, which is about it's about giving feedback. It's about using the AIs together to come up with the best thing possible, and seeing it as a person, seeing it as an assistant, just as an employee, as an expert, challenging it, asking it, informing it. But yeah, don't be afraid. I think the key thing here is, can AI content creation harm your website's Google ranking? Well, I think it can if you simply copy and paste and you don't put any input in, any proper input in. But if used well and edited and thought through, it has no effect whatsoever. In fact, if anything, a positive effect.
I would say so, because you're going to end up with better ideas within the time budget that you have, which is a term that I use a lot in my workshop. And please don't do the thing that I know is showed on Reels and also, which is get some AI produced content, then get on this other platform that's going to humanize it. So you essentially keep using AI platforms to try and avoid the penalties. But the penalties, I can guarantee you, will come from your audience who can tell it's not from you. And it's not from your conviction about how you want to be helpful to your community.
Yeah, for sure.